Imagine a world struggling to breathe under a crushing weight of debt. This isn't just a distant possibility, it's the stark reality we face today. The global debt crisis is not a new phenomenon, but its scale and impact have reached unprecedented levels. That's the reality we face today. Every corner of the globe is feeling the strain, from the busiest financial districts to the quietest rural communities. The numbers on stock market boards fluctuate wildly, reflecting the uncertainty and instability that debt brings. The global debt crisis is a complex issue with far-reaching consequences. Economists and financial experts spend countless hours analyzing data, attending conferences, and poring over reports to understand the full scope of the problem. But it's not just about numbers and charts, it's about real lives and real futures. It affects individuals, businesses, and entire nations. Families sit around kitchen tables, stressed and worried about how to pay their bills. Executives in boardrooms grapple with financial strategies to keep their companies afloat. Governments convene emergency sessions to discuss budget crises and national debt. Simply put, it's the fear that countries, companies, and people have borrowed more money than they can realistically pay back. Overdue bills pile up, credit card debts soar, and the ticking of the government debt clock becomes a haunting reminder of the financial precipice we stand on. This isn't just an economic problem, it's a human problem. Families struggle to make ends meet, people take to the streets to protest economic conditions, and community food banks see lines growing longer each day. The human toll of debt is profound and far-reaching. When debt spirals out of control, it can lead to job losses, poverty, and social unrest. Unemployment lines grow, factories shut down, and the streets fill with protesters demanding change. The social fabric of communities begins to fray under the pressure. Understanding the global debt crisis is crucial for everyone, not just economists. College students debate economic theories, community groups gather to discuss local impacts, and people attend financial literacy classes to better manage their personal finances. Knowledge is power, and in this case, it's a vital tool for survival. We need to be aware of the risks and work together to find solutions. Teams brainstorm in meeting rooms, think tanks debate policy changes, and international summits are held to address the crisis. Collaboration and innovation are key to navigating this complex issue. The future of our global economy, and indeed our world, depends on it. As night falls and cities light up, the wheels of the global economy keep turning. The dawn of a new day brings hope and the possibility of solutions. Our collective efforts today will shape the world of tomorrow. The roots of this crisis run deep. After World War II, many countries needed to rebuild. They began borrowing heavily. This borrowing continued as globalization took hold. Countries and businesses sought loans to invest and grow. Lower interest rates made borrowing even more attractive. Governments borrowed to fund social programs and stimulate their economies. Individuals took out mortgages and student loans. For a while, it seemed like a virtuous cycle. However, this borrowing binge came at a cost. Debt accumulated, and the burden grew heavier. The 2008 financial crisis exposed the fragility of the system. Suddenly, the world was on the brink. The global debt crisis isn't confined to one region or group of countries. It's a complex web of borrowers and lenders. Developed nations like the United States and Japan have amassed huge debts. However, emerging economies are also increasingly vulnerable. China's rapid economic growth has been fueled by massive borrowing. Many developing countries have taken on loans to finance infrastructure projects. These loans often come with high interest rates and strict conditions. This can create a dangerous cycle of dependency. The interconnectedness of the global economy means that a crisis in one country can quickly spread to others. The scale of the global debt crisis is staggering. It's a situation that affects every corner of the world, from the largest economies to the smallest nations. The numbers are not just figures on a page, they represent real challenges and potential crises that could impact millions of lives. According to the International Monetary Fund, global debt reached a record high of $226 trillion in 2020. This unprecedented level of debt is a cause for concern among economists and policymakers alike. That's more than 3 times the size of the entire global economy. To put it in perspective, if the global economy were a single entity, it would need to produce 3 times its current output just to pay off this debt. This comparison highlights the enormity of the issue. This figure includes government debt, household debt, and corporate debt. Each of these components plays a significant role in the overall debt landscape. Government debt often funds public services and infrastructure. Household debt includes mortgages and personal loans, and corporate debt is used for business expansion and operations. The debt-to-GDP ratio, which measures a country's debt against its economic output, is a key indicator of economic health. A lower ratio suggests a healthier economy with manageable debt levels, while a higher ratio indicates potential financial stress. A high debt-to-GDP ratio suggests that a country may struggle to repay its debts. This can lead to higher borrowing costs, reduced investment, and slower economic growth. In extreme cases, it can result in financial crises and economic instability. Many countries now have debt-to-GDP ratios above 100%, meaning their debt exceeds their annual economic output. This situation is not sustainable in the long term and requires careful management and policy intervention to avoid severe economic consequences. These numbers paint a sobering picture of the challenges we face. The global debt crisis is not just a financial issue. It's a complex problem that requires coordinated efforts from governments, financial institutions, and individuals. Addressing this crisis will be crucial for ensuring long-term economic stability and prosperity for future generations. Section 5, the House of Cards' potential consequences. The consequences of a full-blown global debt crisis are, well, dire. If countries are unable to service their debts, it could lead to sovereign debt defaults. This could trigger a domino effect, causing financial markets to crash and plunging the world into another recession. A global debt crisis would have devastating consequences for ordinary people. It could lead to higher taxes and reduced government services, job losses and rising unemployment, and social unrest and political instability. The stakes are incredibly high. We must act now to prevent a worst-case scenario. Section 6. Can we fix this? Solutions on the table. The global debt crisis is a complex issue, but it's not insurmountable. There are several potential solutions that experts and policymakers are actively discussing. The good news is that there are solutions to the global debt crisis. These solutions, however, are multifaceted and require a coordinated effort from all stakeholders involved. However, they require decisive action and global cooperation. Without a unified approach, the effectiveness of these solutions could be significantly diminished. Experts propose a range of measures, including fiscal consolidation. This involves governments taking steps to reduce their budget deficits and stabilize their debt levels. Governments need to get their finances in order by reducing spending and increasing revenue. This could mean cutting down on non-essential expenditures and finding new sources of income, such as through tax reforms. Debt restructuring is another critical component. Creditors may need to agree to write off some debt or extend repayment terms to make it more manageable for debtor countries. This can help alleviate the immediate financial pressure on these nations and give them a chance to recover economically. Economic growth is also essential. Stimulating economic growth is crucial for generating the resources needed to repay debt. This can be achieved through various means, such as investing in infrastructure, promoting innovation, and supporting small and medium-sized enterprises. Regulation is another key area. Stronger financial regulations are needed to prevent excessive risk-taking and future crises. This includes implementing stricter oversight of financial institutions and ensuring that they adhere to sound risk management practices. These solutions will require difficult choices and compromises. Policymakers will need to balance short-term sacrifices with long-term gains, and international cooperation will be crucial in ensuring that these measures are effective. The path to resolving the global debt crisis is challenging, but with determination and collaboration, it is possible to achieve a sustainable economic future for all. Section 7. A call for collective action. Addressing the global debt crisis is not just the responsibility of governments and financial institutions. It requires a collective effort from all stakeholders, including businesses, individuals, and international organizations. We need to promote sustainable borrowing, encourage responsible lending and borrowing practices to prevent future debt accumulation, invest in education, educate individuals about personal finance and the importance of managing debt, foster dialogue, facilitate open and honest discussions about debt and its consequences to find common ground. By working together, we can create a more stable and sustainable global economy. Section 8. The future is in our hands. The global debt crisis is a complex and daunting challenge. However, it's not insurmountable. By understanding the causes, consequences, and potential solutions, we can navigate this crisis and build a more resilient future. Ignoring the problem is not an option. The decisions we make today will have a profound impact on future generations. We must act responsibly and decisively to ensure a brighter future for all. The choice is ours. Section 9, a final word. The global debt crisis is a wake-up call. It's a reminder that our economic system is not invincible. We need to rethink our approach to debt and prioritize long-term sustainability over short-term gains. The future may seem uncertain, but one thing is clear: we are all in this together. By working together, we can overcome this challenge and create a more just and prosperous world for all.